Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Film Tangents podcast. I am here with Jake, and I am obviously the other guy named Edward. And,
To be pouring up my
Jake,
wine
what are
there.
you drinking? Yeah, what
I'm,
are you drinking right now? Tell us.
I'm drinking some Mark West Pinot Noir, California, 2021. Pretty good, Does the trick, but I figured it was an appropriate episode to drink on. So, we're gonna get it rolling because of the movie that we're
And
reviewing.
I'm drinking an old, true, tried and classic lemonade and vodka.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sometimes that's what you gotta do, man. When you're, you just mix something up real quick, gets it done.
Yeah. So this is going to be a little drinking episode for us, based on the movie that we watched, which I'm excited to talk about because I have a lot to talk about that movie. But something that I wanted to say, first and foremost before we move forward, is that everybody, we are live on Apple Podcasts. So anybody that wants to just listen to the podcast, doesn't want to go on YouTube to do it, or if you're driving somewhere, you don't want to open up YouTube and you want to listen to the old Film Tangents podcast, we are live on Apple Podcasts, the same name, Film Tangents. So far, we have 4 episodes up. We have the Cobra episode, Intergalactic, Another Earth, and Time Crime. So we have a few of our classics.
Yeah. They'll all be up within the next few days.
Yeah. And if you would, listener, you can go in there and give us a 5 out of 5 stars in there. That would really help us out with the podcast on Apple Podcasts. And I believe there should also be a link in the description. So you can just click that link and it'll take you right to it. But thank you very much for following us and liking this podcast. And if you would, please do like and subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. You will see all the new posts, the new videos that we're putting out for our highlights. And so that you will also get notified when there is any community post, as I have.
Yeah.
As I have also turned on the bell notification so that I also see our community posts.
Yeah. But now we're on Apple Podcasts. So now, you wake up, right? You hear that alarm go off and you're just like, fuck. Just like, I got to go back to work. But you hop in your car and then you got to sit in traffic. Who knows? Your commute might be 20 minutes. It might be 60 minutes. Might be 90 minutes, right? But at least maybe you can, throw us on while you're in that commute.
Have some fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and just sitting there and maybe we'll take the edge off while you're, wondering how the hell you got here, How the hell?
Well, dude, God knows that I've done a lot of that. A lot of my joys have been like listening to like a podcast or listening to something on the way to somewhere as I reflect, as you say. How this is the show where we talk about how did that person get here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. I mean, dude, I touched on it a bit on last week's episode, but like when I worked at the that part-time job right out of college, I just remember like some I remember like I what really sucks about working in retail is like they'll be like, oh we're gonna need you on Tuesday, and you're gonna be here from 12 till 7, and then we're gonna need you back on Wednesday at 6 a.m. So be here 11 hours later, and you're just like, oh fuck. And dude, I'll never forget. Just like take a shot every time I say I'll never forget. By the way, I noticed when I listened back to the last episode, I'm like, oh, I'll never forget. Fuck. But no, seriously, I just remember like laying in bed. I had to be. I was like, oh god, I got done at 7 p.m. Had a few hours of free time, and then just laying in bed. Just trying to squeeze in some sleep before 6 a.m. and just laying in bed for hours awake. Just like, what am I doing? I just graduated college. Like the whole world's has COVID. And like, I'm just working this crap part-time job. I hate my girlfriend. and I I hate everything. I hate everything. And then and then oh my god, and then maybe getting like 3 hours of sleep. I remember sometimes, dude, I'd lay awake like that all night, and it would just beep 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 beep. My alarm would go off. Like, here we go. No sleep,
Man,
just go off.
That was literally that's how it was. That's how it was with me when I was doing that job where I was working 12 to 12. I mean, 7 to 7. I was working 12 hours. It was literally like that, man. And the worst of it is, I guess we can go into a little work tale. So very, very
part
smoothly.
2.
But yeah, but the worst of it is that I remember there was a day that I think I had been working for like 5 days straight, and I'm pretty sure that it was a Saturday. It could have been a Saturday or a Sunday, but it was either of those 2 days.
Yeah.
Or it could have been a Monday. I don't even remember, dude. But it was one of those days. It was one of those 3 days. And I remember I went to work. I got up in the morning. I didn't even sleep that much, and literally probably slept like 4 or 5 hours, if not less.
Ugh.
Get up the next day. Go to work, and I'm just working. And where I work, it was this like. It was a manufacturing plant, so it was very hot in there, and it was very loud. So we had to wear like muffles. And when you work somewhere for 12 hours, and also where I was working at, they wouldn't let us leave. So like when you had your break, you just had to have your break there. So everybody had to just bring food. But you still get hungry because it's like you get there, and
they have
you have a snack.
They have like steel bars blocking you from like going out to your car. You couldn't even go take a nap in your car. Jesus Christ!
No, you couldn't even go to your car, and because at this point in time, it was also like peak like COVID when I was working at this place, and you get hungry. So by this point in time, I've just worked a whole day and I'm famished. And part of the work that I did, I had to like push this like gigantic containers that had this like huge cylindrical like spheres containing like the product in there, and I had to push those around, which would just which basically I would just end up, by the time that I would come out of there, it was like I would take off those muffles from my ears, so I would just like be hearing for the first time, and I would just be drenched in like sweat, just like walking up and down, pushing these things around, just sweating my ass off.
Yeah.
And the sad thing about that job too is that when I would go into work, it was still nighttime, and then when I would leave work, it was nighttime.
Oh.
So you
that's the worst.
The light of day. That was the worst.
Oh yeah.
And so I came out of there one day, just exhausted. And I was like, all I want to do is just get home, make food and go to sleep. And especially when you're like in those situations where you know that you have to be back at work, because it's like you leave work at 7, but you have to be back there at 7. You're at your home by like, 7:38. And you're like, okay, I have to make food and I have to shower and I have to like, so you just start counting down the hours and you're just like, oh my God, like I only have so much time to sleep by this point,
Yeah.
or so much time to be, because I have to be somewhere again soon.
Oh my God.
So
yeah, you have 4 hours of free time and then you got to sleep for Jesus.
Exactly. So with all of that in mind, man, I come home, exhausted, and that's the funny thing, because when you look at things, like when you think about like why accidents and stuff like that happens, like accidents always happen when people are not being careful, or when you're like tired, because when you're tired you cease to be careful, or you're trying to do things quickly because you're trying to get things done. So I come home and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make something with this corn. So I had a can of corn, and in just opening that can of corn, in the way that I opened it, it just sliced my thumb.
Oh yeah.
And dude, I remember looking at my thumb and I was like, oh geez, so I was like, oh my God, this is like really deep. And then I thought it was like a 5-second process of looking at it and then thinking, does this need medical attention? And then immediately blood just starts gushing everywhere and being like, oh my God, I need to go.
Holy shit. I remember you telling me about this, I think. What did you cut on the bag?
Yeah, no, on the can, because it was like.
Oh, it was in a can. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Oh my God.
So yeah, dude. So immediately the night went from me being like, okay, I'm gonna make something with corn for dinner. It went immediately from that to me cutting my thumb to being like, oh my God, I have to go to the ER.
Yeah.
Like I have to go to the ER now, And my brother was living with me at the time. We were living together, rather. And so immediately I just like wrap my thumb up with like a bunch of paper towels, and I just go to my brother, and I go like calmly, but you can see that I'm just like on edge, I'm like, hey
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
like I think yeah, it's like I think you have to take me to the ER. It was like, why? And I just show him like the scene. It's like this just happened, and my thumb is like bleeding out. So we just like get in his car, we're driving to the ER, and the thing in my head while all of that was happening, I had like a movie scene in my head, and it was that scene in Prisoners where Jake Gyllenhaal is like bleeding out, but he's like taking this girl to like the ER,
Oh yeah, like the
and it's
blood's
like
going in his
raining, so he's
eye.
yeah,
Yeah.
in his eyes. I was just like, oh my god, I gotta get it, I gotta get
Oh
it.
god.
But because of that, man, because of that, like that's when it opened my eyes, and I was just like, man, human beings can't operate like this,
No.
because it's like that Dave Chappelle thing where he said, like he was like Dave Chappelle has this joke where he compares like a 9 to 5 to being like kind of like the maximum that these like job workforce entities have like understood that they can force people to work for.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we can force people to work this much, and at some point things turned around and they were like, actually, could we force people to work even more? And
Yeah.
now you have places like that, places like Amazon that are basically just places that have 2 shifts. So instead of having 3 shifts in which they have to hire more people, they
Right.
just have 2 shifts, and that way you don't have to hire that much people. You cut the hiring process by a third.
Exactly. You
And
just
so you
have the
just have
12
one
and 12.
exactly. But that's fucked up, man. Because human beings can't operate like that.
No.
Because I remember after that happened, that's when I was like, man, I can't do this. Because like humans are not meant to be working that long, and that
No.
also was like an eye-opening moment for me post film school, because that was like the very first thing that I did after I graduated, like literally the very first thing 2020 that I was doing, um, and I remember thinking, like reflecting on that, because films are things that are, there's like 12 hours on a set, and obviously working on a film set is not the same thing as working on a fucking manufacturing plant where it's like more exhausting, but at the same time, you're having to put that effort for 12 hours, of doing some jackass shit.
No.
And that was like kind of part of my understanding of being like, man, that's like not, it's like that's not a way to like live,
Not at all. Yeah, it's fucked. It's really fucked up. But that is the thing. Like corporations, they figured out, they were like, let's just keep pushing it. That's all they fucking do.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. It's just this constant wrestling match between employee and employer, because employees do the same thing. They're like, well, let's see what my boss does if I am inactive on Teams for 20 minutes. Let's see what he does 30 minutes. And then at a certain point, you get to a certain point where you're like, oh, my boss tends to ping me if I'm gone for like this long. Like, you've been away from your desk, what you been doing, and you're like, okay, that's how far I can push it, but companies do the same thing. That's all human beings do. They're just gonna like, keep pushing things. Like if I tell somebody like, hey, you can crash at my place like for a while, eventually I'm gonna walk into my place like a month in, and they're gonna have like 2 more people and like 3 more. Then the next day it's gonna be like 3 more people, and then they're gonna be having like parties there. Yeah,
it becomes like that episode of SpongeBob. I don't know if you've seen it. They want like Squidward moves in with him because Mr. Krabs like fires Squidward.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's SpongeBob, and he initially tells SpongeBob like, "It's SpongeBob, thank you, it's just gonna be a thing for like a couple of days, and then it becomes like months." He's with SpongeBob.
Yeah. Mr. Krabs fires Squidward. What do you fire him for?
Yeah. Because he thought that Squidward stole from him.
It's like, Squidward, you stole from me. You're fired, Squidward.
Dude, I think that's exactly how it goes down.
Squidward,
this episode where
you're fired. You're gonna go live
this episode.
You're gonna go live with SpongeBob.
It's this episode where Mr. Krabs like accuses him of stealing from him, specifically like his very first like penny or something like that. And at the end of that's what it is, dude. And at the end of the episode, SpongeBob is so fed up that he comes back to the Krusty Krab with Squidward, and he's like, he's not begging Mr. Krabs to take Squidward back. He's like telling him, so you're gonna take him back, and Mr. Krabs is like, not until he admits that he stole my penny and that he returns it.
Yeah.
And SpongeBob gets so angry that he like chokes him, and he like shakes him like.
Wow.
And in him doing that, Mr. Krabs like drops the penny. And then it's like, oh, he had it the whole time.
Wow.
And dude, it's not like a penny; it's like gigantic. It's his first penny, so it's like from the ancient times.
My favorite, I think to this day is the rock bottom one where he's like waiting on the bus in the abyss, like the depths of the ocean or whatever. That episode's super artful. It's not necessarily the excuse me, the funniest one, but it's I don't know. I always loved like the artfulness of that one and the little like world they created with the weird creatures that live in the deep and they just like fart when they speak or make fart noises when they speak.
Yeah.
Dude, talking about when you were talking about how manufacturing was like your first job out of film school. I remember it made me think of I remember right after I graduated film school, I was over my girlfriend at the time. I was at her house and we were there and we were eating dinner and like her dad had this like really douchebag, just scumbag of a friend. Couldn't stand this guy. Like this guy was dude, he was so off color, like always saying racist bullshit. Couldn't stand this fucking guy. And I remember one time we were like we were there. It was like, you know, maybe couple weeks after I graduated and we're sitting there and we're just talking about the pandemic and, oh, you know, the job market, it's going to be, you know, tough right out of college and, you know, da-da-da. And then her dad goes, well, you know, at least you didn't just graduate from film school. And like both her and her, like my girlfriend and her dad just both looked so embarrassed. And I was just like, yeah, oh man, I wanted to beat that guy's ass so goddamn bad. What a dick, man. Oh my God. Yeah, God, I just thought of that. I don't know where people get off like saying that kind of shit to people. I don't know. It's so weird. I wanted to slap that guy in his stupid face. Hey, well.
That's great, man. Did he know?
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. He 100% knew I graduated film school. He said it as like a dig. Like it was 100% a dig. Oh, man. I wanted to hit him so bad. Just added to like the lowest.
Did you say? How did that situation go?
I think I just said laugh. Like I just said like, huh. Something like that. I don't know. Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like the version of me now, like 3 years later, would just be like, fuck you, man. Everybody would be like, you just hear everyone's silverware drop. Ching, 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 clink, clink. Like,
yeah, because that's pretty ridiculous. That's pretty unbelievable. It's like, come on, man. Where do you get off saying shit like that?
I know. It's like when you're younger, you just, I don't know. I feel like if you were raised, like if you're socialized well, the kind of trade-off is like you just kiss people's asses a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, you know, it's my girlfriend's friend or my girlfriend's dad's friend. I can't really, you know, say anything. But yeah. The version of me now would be like, dude, go fuck yourself. My girlfriend's dad would be like, whoa. Oh my goodness.
Take it easy, fellas.
Yeah. Oh God. SpongeBob.
Well, something that I wanted to talk to you about. In lieu of money stories and SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs, is that the world is Mr. Krabs. Elon Musk is apparently paying people to be Twitter like content creators, whatever that means. Because I don't know what that means, honestly. Because it's like on Twitter, people just write bullshit, you know, or like throw pictures and then put bullshit with them, like captions.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I think, honestly, he did that just as a response, because the last time that we talked about things like this, last episode, we talked about the whole Twitter versus Threads thing, since Elon Musk launched his own version of Twitter last week.
Yeah.
Since then, that
You mean
Threads thing
Zuckerberg launched
completely.
his own Twitter?
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and since then it like completely plummeted, like completely. Like apparently the numbers that it's doing, it's nowhere near like what it was like the first like 24 hours, 48 hours. And honestly, I feel like it was like a calculated move on part of Elon Musk of being like, let's give people money here, this platform, and see what happens, you know. So because apparently people just like if you were anybody who has like a following on there, even celebrities, like they just sent people like a message being like, hey, since you're a content creator, this is how much we've estimated that you're owed as ad revenue, and people were getting paid like $5,000, $6,000, stuff like that.
It's odd.
Pretty crazy.
How does Twitter make
maybe
money?
Think to myself like, yeah,
Twitter
maybe
makes...
think to myself like, maybe I should have been tweeting crap to get paid.
Tweeting crap. How to make money on Twitter, a guide. This just came out last month. You could be a journalist, blogger, content creator, or just information consumer. Intrigued about this goes back to my this goes back to my rant on the RoboCop episode about articles. They're just like, there's lots of ways to make money online. It's like,
Yeah.
you can you can make pornography.
At this point, I feel like the most threatened job at the moment, like if I was gonna say like this is like the job that's like on the cotton block right now, is writing like articles. I think that's about.
Oh, for sure, dude. Are you shitting me? My dad and I have this bit that we always do where like, cause my dad and I both like make fun of the how stupid articles are. And we have this bit where we're just like, next article, how to make toast, and it's like the article starts like, toast is a great snack because you can eat it, well, anywhere, and then it's like step 1, think about why you want to make toast. It's like step 2, you're going to need something. So make sure you have bread and a toaster oven, of course. It's but it's like, dude, I had when we were laughing about that, and I was like, let me see what ChatGPT does. So I like told ChatGPT, like, write me an article about how to make toast like you're talking to an 8-year-old. It wrote it, dude. It wrote it in 5 seconds. Of course. They're gonna be able to just get I honestly can't believe that they haven't done that yet. I mean, it almost seems like they should have, the day ChatGPT like started making waves, they should have just been like, all right, let's get rid of all this staff. Like, dude, and I don't know, maybe this is like a subconscious reason that I was shitting on Screenrant so much a few weeks ago. But this was during the time that I was when I graduated college and was working that shit part-time job, and I was just looking for like any way to just get out of it. That didn't involve, because the problem hit my mic there. The problem with, like, if you're gonna go work a crap part-time job, like if you're any kind of responsible person, be prepared to be there until you find something else. Because the problem with that is, like, you have no job, so you're at step 0, right?
Right.
Step 1 would be you're at square 0. Let's call it that. Square 1 would be a job, right? Like a full-time job, one that is like, you can make a living off of, and it's like, okay, I'm not, I don't have to like be embarrassed when I tell people I work this. But the problem with going to work a part-time job, like to make extra cash, is like, then you're going to like square 0.5. And the problem with that is, like, you want to quit, but you're like, well, I don't want to step back to square 0. I don't want to go backward. So like, you're going to be stuck, if you're like me anyway, you're going to be stuck there. So that was my position. So I was trying to just find any way to like make money other than that. And I actually applied to Screenrant, and I wrote them an article. And
Dude, I think I did too.
Yeah, and neither of us are working at Screenrant. You know what? One of my coworkers over at Smashing Graphics, She's our marketing person, Brooke. I think she actually currently writes for them or has written for them. So I'll have to talk to her about this. Like, ask her if she how she did it. But yeah, they shot me down. But while I was like writing.
Both of us.
We're both rejects, and I was sitting here like shitting on them. But like, because I'm sitting there writing this article about like a comic book character, and I'm just like, dude, the whole time I'm writing this, I felt like below whale shit because I'm just like, this is. I'm sitting there typing this out, and I'm just like, Darth Vader is like one of the greatest villains of all time, and he's also appeared in many comic books besides the movies. Here's a guide to his appearances in the expanded universe. I'm like, dude, anybody could write this bullshit. Like, how do people get paid for this? Anyone can do this. Anyone can write this god awful shit, man. This ain't hard. I'm just going finding stuff on the internet about a character and like writing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so stupid. Yeah. If those aren't on the chopping block, like, dude, I hear copywriters are losing jobs. I'm like, fuck, what about these article writers?
Yeah.
It's like how to make eggs. Breakfast is a wonderful, everyone has memories of breakfast. It's like, God damn it, tell me how to make fucking eggs.
Because the thing is that to begin with, like, there are already like a lot of articles that I go in there and I'm like, I can tell this is just written by an AI. A lot of the time it's like, I can tell an AI wrote this. And if it wasn't an AI, because I read like a lot of tennis articles sometimes, is if it wasn't an AI that wrote the article, it was somebody who doesn't speak English as the first language.
Yeah.
Or it was somebody that wrote the article in their own language and then translated it with Google Translate and then posted it to the page.
Yeah.
One of those two things must be true, It's like either a computer wrote this or a person who only speaks English sometimes wrote this or somebody translated this on Google, Sometimes it's so clear that it's like, what is going on here? It's like, what is this? Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, dude, I like the other day I was I needed a God. I have to say this now. I'm in it now. I don't know if this is embarrassing or not, but I needed a refresher on like how to grill burgers the other day. Because I haven't grilled a burger in like a long ass time. Fuck. Who needs to grill when you got Five Guys? But anyway, I'm like looking up online, and of course, the first article that I bring up is like, it's like grilled burgers are the perfect food for a quick and easy weeknight dinner with the family. It's like, God, just fucking give me the fucking grill temperature. Oh my God, get to the. I need a few things here. I need goddamn fucking grill temperatures and the time that it needs to get grilled and when to flip them. Okay. Like, what the fuck, man?
Oh man!
Like, Jesus Christ! Boy. When did we start writing these articles like this? Like, dude, I feel like back when dial-up internet was a thing, like back in 2003. Like, dude, I remember being on the internet when I was like 5 years old. You'd just type in a question like, "How long do sharks live?" And you'd like go to Google. There'd be a site, and you just click on the link, and it'd be like, 30 years. And that was like the whole article. It was just like, sharks live 30 years. Thanks for stopping by. I was like, thanks. But now they're like, we need people to stay here as long as possible. So they'll click on this ad on how to remove toenail fungus. That's exactly another thing. That's another thing on these sites. Like all these articles, you go down and the ads are always just so fucking gross. Like, what is up with that? You ever notice that?
No, they are. I don't know what that's about, man. And maybe by us saying this, somebody else out there knows. And it's like, I know what these guys are up to. only certain folks.
I don't get it.
I don't know, man. But it's true. What you're saying is true.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like you go to an article and it's just like, oh, how do I, roast a weenie over the fire? And it's like, this article of like, well, roast weenies, and step one, make sure it's a hot dog and not your weenie. Haha, and then you scroll down and you get through the article and then like the bottom of it is like how to remove blackheads, and like, this is what's living in your under your eyelid. And it's like, Jesus, holy shit, this is disgusting. I don't know. Did they think that I don't know when that started. It started like 10 years ago at least, but it's like, does that stuff get more clicks or something? I don't know. I don't know.
Sometimes I think that stuff like that might be targeted towards like maybe like older users. Maybe it's like some kind of fear mongering thing. People go like, "Oh my god, I have to know." I don't know.
Yeah. But oh my god, that's living under my fingernail. Oh shit.
Exactly. But dude, the fact that those things are still so ever present, because you and I know what it is. The people listening to this know what we're talking about. Means that they have to be successful to some extent. Those things.
Yeah.
If they're still around, Yeah,
it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Anyway. Dude,
did you make the burger?
Oh yeah, it was it was good. I put a little too I think I put a little too much seasoning on it, but it was good otherwise.
Yeah.
I had a salad with it.
Good.
Dude, so Travis Scott's coming out with a new album.
I heard. I don't know, man, because people keep talking about that, Like every time that I go like on like anything related to music, people are being like, "Oh, this is when it's gonna come out. This is when it's gonna come out." And nobody knows the actual date, And people keep quoting Travis. Like I saw a quote that it was like a quote unquote Travis said that this album has reminded him of the rodeo days. And I'm like, did he actually say that? Like, what's the point? Like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Who is this for? That reminds him of the rodeo days. Who cares? Oh, I know that he also was like released of any charges for like what happened in Texas.
Of course.
Yeah.
They always, famous people, rich and famous people always are. What did people think? Travis Scott was gonna like, oh, it's over. It's over. No more music. He's going to jail. No. Nope. I wouldn't want him to. I mean, I love his music and,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It seems like he got way too into his, how, I get the hype, he wants to hype up his concert venues and stuff, but he just, he took it too far. He's got to live with that, man. I mean, who knows? He seems like a decent person. I'm sure it haunts him a good bit.
Are you at all excited for the release of that album?
Oh yeah, very excited. I mean, it's been almost 5 years.
I'm not excited.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not excited because you have to remember that like, and I know this because my brother talked to me about it. For apparently, Young Thug released an album like a couple weeks ago.
Did I know this? I think I did. I think I listened to a little bit of it.
He did. It's like the cover. It's like him looking back from like the court. It's like sitting, like in court.
I did listen to a little bit of it. It was like not great.
Yeah, but that slipped by me, and it's because I don't care. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. Like for me to actually be interested in this Travis thing, I have to hear people like actively like praising it. Otherwise, I'm not. There's no inherent interest, Like
really,
it would like for Don Toliver, it was just like curiosity with his last album. Because I remember when the Don Toliver album released, I was like, man, Don Toliver sucks. And I was like, but let me confirm that for myself, Because before that, I was like, I've not listened to a single Don Toliver album that I thought it was good from front to back, And when this new one came out, I was like, this is the worst thing ever, But it's funny because with Travis, I do enjoy his music. I did enjoy I enjoyed Rodeo and I enjoyed Birds in the Trap and I enjoyed Astroworld.
Mhm.
So there's like a track record with him, but at the same time, I'm not excited. I feel like that guy's he's been away for too long for me to care. But I'm probably gonna listen to the album regardless, just so at least so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But you know that also a new Uzi album dropped like a week and a half ago.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that. That was going to be my recap actually.
Interesting.
But I
Okay,
can throw.
I don't want to push it up if that's something you want to talk about later.
Well, I mean, we're in the rap section. I want to talk a little bit more about Travis Scott, though. I mean, like, dude, because for me, Travis is actually in. I used to put him in my top 5. He used to be in my top 5 a while back. So he's not like small potatoes for me. I mean, he's like, he's somebody that I'm, I'm
He's
on the
decently
lookout for.
sized potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. He's, now. It's not. I haven't been thirsting or missing him like his music like crazy or anything since 2018. It doesn't feel like 5 years since Astroworld came out to me. So make of that what you will. It's not like I'm like, oh my god. It's not like Kid Cudi where it's just like, Kid Cudi's like my favorite musician a lot. Living musician. It's not like that. Like if Kid Cudi went 5 years without releasing something, it'd feel like 50.
I think Cudi might be releasing something this year.
Yeah, and I definitely need that. I'm gonna need something more substantial from Cudi because
than what he did last.
Yeah, because after listening to his discography, I mean, Man on the Moon 3 like was pretty good. Intergalactic was perfectly fine, but I'm just gonna need something to where Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying, that was, Slayin, I believe is how it's spelled.
Slayin.
Gotta be accurate here. That was, it was an opus, you know what I mean? It was like, it was something that was, grand. And I guess not every album's gonna be like that. But when you love an artist, so much, I guess you kind of want everything to be like that. So it's difficult, I just felt like Intergalactic was very, it was very relaxed. It was just Kid Cudi, it was Kid Cudi in his element, but there was a trade-off where it was like it didn't feel like he was pushing himself on that album very much. Whereas,
because
on Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying, it just felt like he was just belting out, like he was putting his heart out there, And I just don't know why people don't talk about that album that much. I feel like people like generic shit, man. I don't know how else to put it. They're like, Man on the Moon 3 is a masterpiece. It's like, is it? It's pretty good, There's a lot of trappy stuff on it though. There's masterpiece songs on it, but is it really a masterpiece overall? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. This is what I gotta say, man. The album that he's releasing is coming out this year in September. It's called Insano is the name of the album. This is kind of where I stand with this. I am saddened in a way. Like I'm sad in a way because of kind of how things have gone with Cudi and the whole Kanye stuff.
Yeah.
Because Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying specifically was an album that was almost entirely produced by Mike Dean and by Plain Pat, and I don't know if the thing with those guys is that they're like mostly connected with like Kanye. I don't know what it is, and also Mike Dean and Cudi fell off completely, prior to Intergalactic coming out. So Mike Dean has no credits in Intergalactic. Plain Pat has some credits in Intergalactic, but Plain Pat is not even credited as like one of the people who's producing an Insano. Mostly since Intergalactic has been working with Dot Genius, I believe. And not that they've been making like bad music or anything like that, but I feel like it's been leaving a lot to be desired, like the output that he's been having,
Yeah.
Where it doesn't feel like he's been collaborating, because like even with Men on the Moon 3, like there was a bunch of producers in there, including, Dot the Genius, but also Mike Dean was in there, and Plain Pat was in there as like one of the producers for that album. So it just kind of shows you a little bit that it's like you need that team. I feel like him and Mike Dean make a lot of great music, so I feel bad that they fell off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't know. I feel like rappers, hip hop artists in general, kind of tend to do that. I don't know. Like people say the same thing about Chief Keef and Young Chop. It's like they make great music together, but Chief Keef often like just completely leaves him off his Young Chop off his albums, his later
Mm.
albums, and it's just like, or maybe like one song will be produced by him. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just a part of artists wanting to push themselves musically. Uh, who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe it's a business thing. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm
I know.
just
I know
a
that for a fact.
consumer that goes and listens to it and judges it and
Yeah,
talks
it
on a
goes like, yeah,
podcast about it.
6 out of 10. Yeah, I know that for a fact. Like, I know that for a fact. Him and Mike Dean fell off. Like, I think they completely fell off. And I guess it's left to be seen how that impacts his discography going forward. Because I feel like the impact on his discography is being felt with the absence of him, and the absence of like Plain Pat is being felt like post Men on the Moon 3,
Yeah.
where Intergalactic and now the new album is not with those guys anymore. And and I know that Passion Pain and Demon Slaying was hugely like something that him, Plain Pat, and Pharaoh and Mike Dean did together.
Yeah.
Because he spoke about that too. That he like just got in the studio with Mike Dean, and Mike Dean was just like, just making all this music, and that they were all on the same page about kind of like the sonics of it.
Mhm.
And also that Mike Dean is probably like one of the most underrated producers of our time. I mean, Jesus Christ. So I don't know, man. I guess we can only hope for the best, but you know that he's also saying like this is like the last Kid Cudi album, so who knows what that means. If from then on it's just gonna be like Scott Mescudi albums, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
It better mean anything but what it's actually saying, because I love Kid Cudi, man. I can't do without more Kid Cudi albums. Now, if he wants to just go, if the way you're reading on it's interesting, if he wants to just go by Scott Mescudi, fine, Scott Mescudi,
I feel like he will lose a lot of fans. There's probably a lot of people who are his fans that just go like, "Oh, there's a new Kid Cudi album," but if they see like, "Oh, there's a new Scott Mescudi," who's that? And then there's like you cut your audience in half when you take off your name.
Well, as he says on the song "Baptized in Fire," bitches in my ear saying they love me. You don't love Scott.
You don't love
Kid
Scott.
Cudi.
You love Kid Cudi. Amazing.
He's awesome.
What is it?
Man.
Then he says, "I'm no fucking slouch. Show you what I'm about." Right? That's what he says after that. Yeah, amazing song.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I think we just briefly said this last podcast, but I think you and I are in conjunction in being that's the best one, and then Men on the Moon too.
Yeah. Passion, Pain, Demon Slaying. It's a freaking masterpiece. What I wanted to ask you too, regarding Travis Scott. I mean, what's your favorite Travis project? Do you think Rodeo? I used to be on that train too. I've made this shift.
For me.
Okay.
And then I feel like number 2 is it's Birds, and then Astroworld.
Really? Okay. For me, it goes Astroworld, Rodeo, and then Birds.
I see.
Yeah. I used to be on the Rodeo train.
I think Rodeo is really the best one. Yeah.
I used to be on that train too. I was kind of resistant to Astroworld when it first came out, because it felt, when Astroworld first came out, I felt like, I remember listening to it for the first time and I liked it, but as I kept on repeat listens, I was like, I remember just thinking it felt very, it's really psychedelic, but it felt kind of laid back and lazy a little bit compared to Rodeo. And nowadays, I think that's what I like about it. It just feels very, very psychedelic, where Rodeo has some psychedelic tracks on it, certainly, but it's definitely a little more of a hype album. And I don't know, I guess years later, I just gravitate more toward Astroworld. What are your
It's
favorite
interesting
tracks
because
on Rodeo? Oh, go
I
ahead.
think for me, if you had asked me this question maybe like a year or two ago, I would have given you the answer you just gave me.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
and I have
interesting because
done a flip flop. I think on
yeah, I
Travis
flip
Scott.
flop because then that other album grew on me because I actually never listened to the first album fully, for like years. But I did listen to the last one fully when it came out. And then I feel like retroactively, I just appreciated the older one because I was introduced to the older one later, so it's pretty funny that way.
Yeah,
Um, Oh My, of course, I really like that one. Um, Let me
yeah, that's a great
see.
one. What do you think's like your top track off Rodeo if you had to pick one?
I think if I had to pick one, like I don't know if I can, but I can give you like two that would be like um kind of competing for that spot, and it would probably be Piss on Your Grave and 90210.
Okay, yeah, I knew you would say
Yeah.
90210. I knew that would be one of the two. I don't care for Piss on Your Grave too much.
This is great stuff, and I love that song.
I don't think Travis is very. I think Travis is only. I think he's strongest when he's auto-tuned. I really don't think that when I hear a Travis song and he's just straight up rapping on it or something, which I believe on Pissed on Your Grave, he's just kind of rapping. Isn't he? There's not much auto-tune
Yeah,
on
but
that
that's
song,
like
is there?
no, the thing that I like about it is just it's kind of like this like screamy song where they're just like yelling these things. It
Yeah.
has like a lot of attitude, and it's like and Kanye's in that song, and it's like it's such like a continuation in a way of kind of like the Yeezus like
Yeah.
aesthetic, because a lot of people credit that album with that, because of people. Like Travis took a lot of the Yeezus kind of era of Kanye, because that's kind of where he came out, and he helped with that album a little bit. So I like Passenger Graves was just like kind of like an ode to that sound, and I think him and Kanye do pretty well there. And I think it's like the only song that he has with Kanye, so I have like appreciation. I have appreciation for that song outside of just like the sonics of it.
Yeah.
But it's really between those two. If you were like really bending my arm, it probably would just be 90210.
He has that other song with Kanye, with Uzi as well. The one that like didn't make. It's called Watch.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make Astroworld.
Yeah. That's right.
I remember.
No, they didn't release. It didn't officially release in the album, but it's just like sitting on Apple Music. Funnily enough, but it's not a bad song.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I can't even remember what that song sounds like. That song came and went so quick. For me, the probably my favorite song off of Rodeo, the one that I probably re-listened to the most is Maria, I'm Drunk, which I was so happy when they finally put that on Apple Music. I guess they couldn't clear
Yeah, because it wasn't in there for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm suspecting they couldn't clear the Bieber feature. But, I mean, Justin Bieber actually has like a really good feature on it, which is crazy.
It does, yeah.
But yeah, that song's dope. Man, the way it starts off and it's just like this weird psychedelic, and then it just descends down into this trap beat. Call your friends to get drunk. Call your friends to get drunk. Call your friends to get drunk. That's a great one, man. Yeah. And then probably,
a great song.
I mean, Nightcrawler because it has Chief Keef. I listen to Nightcrawler for Chief Keef's verse, pretty much. Chief Keef freaking goes nuts on that song. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, dude, pretty much there's like no skips on this album other than
no.
I mean, I feel like Wasted featuring Juicy J is not that great. But like the first track, Pornography, great freaking track, man. 3500. That track brings me back to high school. Yeah. I just remember bumping that. Apple Pie, that's a great song.
Apple Pie's great.
Yeah. On the expanded edition, Okay Alright with Schoolboy Q, I love that song. That's a good one. Never Catch Me, that's a solid psychedelic track. But yeah, I truly believe, to go back to what I was saying, like I really believe that Travis needs to just do auto-tune on every song that he does. Like when I hear I mean, that's why like when I hear Sicko Mode and he's just like rapping on it, I'm like, stop, dude. Stop rapping. That's not why anybody listens to that's not why I listen to Travis Scott.
Well, I feel like all these guys at some point feel insecure about that, because that was like such the Drake thing, Drake was like such the insecure guy when it came to that, because people would just like pigeonhole them and be like, oh, you're just like a singing guy. All you do is like sing this little singy songs, and that's all you're about. And at some point they all break and go like, I have to do my rapping album. And then Drake released If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Which apparently he's been teasing that he's like doing an album just like that again. So he's apparently trying to do like some rap album again. But they all break at some point. They go like, I have to prove to the streets that I'm a rapper. I mean, Cudi's done the same thing, and because in that track that also didn't make an album of his, the one with Eminem, he said that the reason why he did that with Eminem is because he like texted Eminem or something like that, or he like DM'd him being like, you have to help me, like do like a great rap track so people can see that I can rap, So all these guys like they all go like, I have to show people that I'm actually like a rapper,
Yeah. I think it's a fallacy, because I really believe, as somebody who, like, I grew up on hip hop, and I think hip hop, like rap and hip hop, are two different things. They're not two different things, rather. I think hip hop is the category and rap is the subcategory. Rap is hip hop, is part of hip hop, but it's only a part of it. Like, hip hop is a culture. Hip hop is, to me, an art form, right? As somebody who grew up on hip hop, like, I discovered, like, when I was in elementary school, through, the time when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I was just listening to like, post grunge music and stuff. And then maybe 11, 12 years old, I discovered rap. I discovered Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was my gateway into rap.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this. I like this a lot. And so ever since then, I've just been a rap, hip hop head. But I think that over my, now over a decade listening to hip hop religiously, I think hip hop is more than rap. It's bigger than just rapping, It's bigger than that. That's how hip hop started, with rap. But I think hip hop, like, it's like, is Ty Dolla $ign a rapper? No. Is he an R&B artist? No. He's a hip hop singer, That's where I come from with it. So all I'm saying is, I guess I don't believe in that. I don't think they should crack. I don't think hip hop artists need to feel insecure, And I actually really respected Uzi when he went on a radio show and they tried to give him a beat to freestyle over, and he's like, I'm not freestyling over that whack ass beat,
Yeah.
And when he did that, I was like, good for you, little Uzi. People, old heads came out like, that's disrespectful, da da da. It's like, disrespectful to what? Are you going to sit here and tell me that Nate Dogg? I mean, I've never heard Nate Dogg rap. Have you?
But he's hip hop for sure.
Exactly,
for sure.
But he's not an R&B artist. He's a hip hop singer.
Because it's like you said, it's like a feeling. You get a feeling from people when they're hip hop, because like you said, it's like culture, and it's not necessarily like, oh, do you rap? If you don't rap, you're not hip hop. So it's obviously not like that. But you do have to see that it's like such a commonality, because even with Tyler, after he made back-to-back albums that were not, all the way like rap, he made a rap album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's something. I think it's something with them where I feel like at some point, when you're like a hip hop artist, at some point, once you deviate enough from the root, right?
Yeah.
Then you go like, I have to go back to the root and just show people that I can do that, because everybody knows, everybody knows that it's like the root. The root is Rakim, fucking LL Cool J and Wu-Tang, and it's like all those guys are fucking rapping. I gotta rap, So it's like, so I love that too, man, because it's like, it's even with Kanye, like after he made Yeezus, and everybody was just like, oh, this is not rap, The next thing that he did was that he made Pablo, and Pablo is such a rap album,
Yeah. That is
even
true.
with like the hype man, that is like, Mr. West, you gotta wake up, So it's fascinating. And obviously, as you know, that's my favorite album of his, because not only is it like a like a rap hip hop album, it's also really experimental. But I'm always fascinated because those like comeback, like I'm gonna come back to the rap. Those albums are always like so good because they always put so much effort into
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, because a lot of times, I mean, like you mentioned, Tyler the Creator. That's such a good album, man.
Mhm,
Call Me If You Get Lost. He definitely too seemed to
mhm.
come to that back to that album with just a genuine fire, like a genuine desire to rap. I mean, he talked
Absolutely,
about it in
yeah.
interviews where he was just like, I want to rap again. I didn't think that. I was really surprised actually when that happened because from the way he talked about, I mean, as early as 2011, he told, or 2011, 2012, maybe. He was like on
Mhm.
Larry King's show, and he was like, "I'm leaving the world of rap. I don't want to be a rapper anymore."
Right,
Tyler the
right.
Creator
But
was
I
the
think
last person I thought would go back to
yeah,
rap.
it's funny, man, because it just triggers on these guys that it's like I have to do it. Like I
Hmm.
have to do it, and it's always great because I love when they do that, especially with Tyler because his voice is great.
Yeah.
Like that guy has like one of like the top like voices for that. So it's like the fact that he at least like was like I'm gonna embrace it
Hmm.
and I'm gonna make this like as good as I possibly can. I really appreciate that, and that's like one of his albums that's like most in rotation for me. It's like that and Flower Boy, because even Igor is not in rotation as much as Call Me If You Get Lost.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel. Yeah. Flower Boy was great. Igor, I don't really listen to very much.
Exactly.
And Call Me If You Get Lost. That dude, freaking Wilshire. I listen to that song constantly. That song's so good, man. It's like a 7-8 minute song. He just raps and raps and raps and tells this incredible story. He's awesome, man. He's in my top 5 for those who don't
Mhm.
know.
Same for me.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah,
Who is your top 5, Edward?
I think
Top
so.
5
I mean, I
rappers.
just said that. But I'm like, is he really? Let me think. Kanye's number one.
Kanye's, yeah, obviously in there for you.
And then I would say that Pusha T is there. I'm just gonna Kanye's number one, but I'm not gonna rank anybody else. I wouldn't know exactly where to place them.
Yeah.
But Pusha's there. Gibbs is there, and let me think.
We have
I think
Gibbs in
Tyler's there.
common.
Yeah. So do you have Common in there? No.
No.
Let me
We got
see.
Gibbs and Tyler
I
in
know.
common. Well, Gibbs
I know
no,
that.
because MF Doom. Yeah, no, MF Doom's there, not Gibbs. I switch Gibbs and MF Doom fight for number 5, but I have to put Doom there. I can't leave Doom out of my top 5. I just fucking can't. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I know that
Gibbs.
Wayne. I know that Wayne's not there. I've said 3 right now. 4 with Tyler. Um, I know Wayne's not there. I love the Griselda guys, but I don't know if I put them there.
Who?
If I was gonna put any of the Griselda guys there, it would be Benny the Butcher, not any of the other guys.
Oh, I gotcha.
Because I haven't listened to enough West Side Gun to be able to make that like claim. Let me think, because I think at this point the 5th one could be just MF Doom, because I don't think I have anybody else that I really like that.
Yeah.
That's like a rapper. Nobody in like the fucking ASAP people for sure. Nobody in there. Although I appreciate Rocky, but none of those guys.
Yeah, you used to have. You went through a phase. I feel like where you liked ASAP Rocky a lot. Maybe our junior year.
Mm.
That was kind of a
Mhm.
phase for you. It seemed like because you don't talk about him
Oh,
as
for
much
sure,
anymore.
yeah. Because that was only when like that album came out, and he hasn't testing, and he hasn't put an album out since then. And I just really appreciated that album. I gravitated towards it, but that's it really for that. Because I don't have appreciation for any of his other albums like at all. I don't want to put Errol here because I don't really feel that passionate about Errol. I love Errol, but I don't really feel like he's like top like that for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jay-Z either. No. Or 50 Cent or anything like that.
50 Cent.
Not 50.
If
None
50
of the
Cent's in
Wu-Tang
your
guys.
top 5, I want to meet you and talk about that.
None of the Wu-Tang
Why?
guys. If I was
The
gonna
50
have
Cent's
any of the
good,
Wu-Tang
but
guys, it would either be RZA or Ghostface. But I'm not. I don't think I have any of those guys either. I think this is what I'm gonna say.
Ghostface is great.
Yeah, this is what I'm gonna say. It's Ghostface is amazing. I love that guy. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that number one for a fact is Kanye. I don't think anybody has made an impact on hip hop as big as that guy. Um, and like at all, whatsoever. And to me, he has the best rap albums. Hip hop. Cudi's hip hop. It's like, am I forgetting somebody?
Kid Cudi. Is he not? Is
Yeah.
Cudi not in your top 5? Surprised, Edward.
He is. I was just forgetting him.
Oh, okay.
I think this is what my top 5 is. I think it's Kanye. I think followed by Kanye is Cudi. I think that's my number 1 and 2 for a fact.
Okay.
And then 3 to 5, it's not really in order, but I think it is Gibbs, Tyler, and Pusha. And Pusha is like sitting. Actually, let me rearrange that. Like, let's actually try to make this a top 5. 1 is Kanye, 2 is
in
Cudi.
order.
In order, yeah. This is in order. 3 is Pusha. 4 is Tyler. 5 is Gibbs together with Doom, but one of those guys comes in and out. Honestly, yeah. I think that's like an honest top 5 for me.
It's funny how we both compare Gibbs and Doom because they both work with Madlib extensively. I feel like that's
they do. They both have those albums. Yeah,
that's the only reason they compete. It's Madlib's fault. I feel like
they flip flop because there's days that I appreciate Gibbs more than Doom, and there's days that I appreciate Doom more than Gibbs. So they kind of flip flop a little bit. People who are not in there, and I think won't ever be in there, it's like Kendrick. I don't really like Kendrick like that.
No, I don't care about Kendrick. I don't care about Kendrick's music at all.
I don't care about Kendrick too much, man. I do like his music, but I don't really care for him at all. And like none of like the new age guys are there for me. Nobody that's been rapping since 2010s, other than Tyler, is there for me.
Yeah.
So none of those fellas, people that could sneak up in there are the Griselda guys could sneak up on my top 5.
Yeah.
Specifically West Side Gun, because I haven't gotten to him. Because I already listened to all of Conway's albums, and I already listened to all of Benny's albums, and I love those guys' albums. But if any of them I think has the potential to maybe sneak in there, it's West Side Gun, I think.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
But I think that's it. I think that's an honest top 5.
If anyone listening, if anyone's wondering what mine is, it's Kid Cudi in no order, except Kid Cudi's number 1. Kid Cudi's my favorite musician, so make of that what you will. It's Kid Cudi, The Game, Chief Keef, Tyler the Creator, and MF Doom. That's my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Yeah, you have 2 guys there that I know are there just because I know you, but I feel like anybody listening to them will be like, "What?" And those are
Game and Chief
Keef. Yeah. What?
Well, because people don't, especially Chief Keef, I feel like people don't know that. People don't know anything about Chief Keef. They're like, "Oh, that's that guy who did Love Sosa and Finito." It's like, yeah, but he flies under the radar. He's, he went underground, but no, he's Chief's. Yeah, he's an incredible artist. I went into tangents about him before, but I mean, he
have a lot of appreciation
Chief
for
Keef.
The Game.
I do, or you do?
Yeah. No, you do, because now that that I've listened to like 5 of that guy's albums, I really think he's great, but I wouldn't put him in my top 5 personally. I don't think I would put him in my top 10 either.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, I don't know. The Game. I don't know. I find myself coming back to his music quite a bit, and his music just had a big impact on me in high school, just as a hip hop listener. I don't know. He's had a big impact. I think he makes great rap music. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you say, Edward? We get into. You want to throw us into some film stuff here?
Yeah, I do. I do have to say, I want to interject here for a second before we move out of this topic. I do have to say that this conversation excludes any groups or duos. This conversation's not. There's none of those here. So by that, basically, I want to say that's why I'm not mentioning Death Grips, or that's why I'm not mentioning Outkast, or fucking Wu-Tang, Run the Jewels, Tribe Called Quest. That's why none of those guys got mentioned.
Migos.
We're just talking about individual artists. Yeah, Migos. We're just talking about individual music artists. So I wanted to clear that up. And I think I feel like I'm also not talking all time in a way. Because I feel like if I was talking all time, then maybe consider like guys that passed away, but I'm not. I don't think I was thinking about that either. But I feel like even if we did like an all time into consideration, I don't think I would put those guys in there either. But I think they might be in my top 10 anyway, like like Tupac and Biggie and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Biggie's definitely my top 10 probably.
Yeah.
And Pac. I mean, yeah, it's no accident. I mean, because I remember as a kid, because as a kid, you and I are late 90s kids, grew up in the 2000s. So people our age, a lot of times we didn't grow up on Biggie and Pac. We grew up on Wayne, Eminem, Kanye, Kid Cudi. I'm sure you could think of others. But then we go back and we discover, mostly because you just keep hearing on every other rap song ever made, Biggie and Pac are mentioned. And I remember just being like, who are these guys? Who's Pac? What the fuck is that? Just going and finding them and being like, oh, this is why they get mentioned so much, because their music's fucking incredible. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love hip hop, man. I mean, it's such a good, it's an incredible genre. When people, I don't know, people talk about how you don't meet anybody really these days who isn't at least somewhat into hip hop music, but, yeah, I mean, dude, hearing someone like Ben Shapiro be like, I don't believe that hip hop really is music. It's like, shut the fuck up, man.
Screw that guy, man.
Dumb fuck.
I don't even know who will listen to that guy. I mean, anybody who listens to that guy, it's a questionable individual to say the least. But moving on, let's get into film for a little bit.
Let's do it.
This is something that I wanted to talk to you.
I can't resist it, dude. I'm taking a few sips of this chocolate whiskey. It's so good, man.
Look,
go ahead.
Something that we're doing. Somehow when we record, I always feel like the podcast. I always feel like people don't know like what this is about. Like somehow I always feel like people clicked on this and there was like no like title or anything like that. It was like, film podcast episode, whatever. They don't know what the movie of the week is. They always know what the fucking movie of the week is. We even said the name of the movie we're going to be watching last episode. Obviously, we're watching Another Round. Yeah. So with that, I'll make my reference that Jake and I are, whether consciously or unconsciously, keeping our blood alcohol content levels at least 0.5.
Yeah. No. It's 0.05.
0.05. Yeah.
0.5 would be passed out, I think.
Yeah. 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 0.05. My bad. But that being said, let's get into some movies. Jake, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
And this is it. What are popular actors that if they are in a movie, that's a red flag for you that they're in that movie? For instance, like I saw this actually like on Reddit. Somebody like posed this question, and the example that they used was that whenever they see that like A-list actor Michelle Rodriguez is in a movie, they're like, okay, this is not a good sign for this movie.
Michelle Rodriguez. Who's Michelle Rodriguez? Why can't I think of who that is?
She's in the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely in a lot of crap. She's in
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's in all crap. She's in all like just kind of bad action movies. The only that she's in a lot of bad shit when the best thing that she's in is Avatar. It's like I mean, arguably, I'm not this is obviously just my opinion, but I mean, she's in a lot of schlock, let's say.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
I would agree with I would agree with that. It's kind of like Vin Diesel. Like Vin Diesel is kind of a red flag.
He is.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
He's definitely a red flag.
100%.
You know who else is a red flag is fucking Jason Bateman.
Jason Statham.
Or Statham. It's not Bateman. Him too. What the fuck? Ozark? You shitting me? He's a huge red flag. No. He's he's not in that much, first of all, Jason Bateman. No, Jason. I meant to say Jason Statham. He's he's a red.
Yeah.
He's a
basically the whole cast of Fast and Furious.
yeah, all of them. Exactly. The Rock. He's a huge red flag.
The Rock is a huge red flag.
Dude, The Rock hasn't been in anything
he's
good.
gigantic too.
Yeah, that's like a Chinese parade, man. That fucking school of red flags. Baywatch, Black Adam, Moana. I guess that may be good. Jumanji, Fast and Furious, San Andreas, Journey to the Mysterious Island. Yeah, fuck Rampage. I mean, you just go on and on. I'm looking at his filmography here. The Tooth Fairy. Jeez. I saw that a long time ago. Tooth Fairy. Yeah. The Rock is a huge red flag. For me, like Margot Robbie, she's not exactly a red flag, but I just get tired. There's actors that I get tired of seeing. I'm really tired of Margot Robbie. I've said this before on another podcast, but there's actors and actresses that are just like way overcast, where it's just like, oh my god, I see this person in everything. Like I've been feeling that way with Timothée Chalamet these days, where I'm just like, oh
absolutely,
my god, he's in
100%. Yeah. Like, did you see like the Wonka trailer? I saw the trailer for that.
No, I saw a still from it though. It's like, oh my god, are we just gonna put this guy in everything?
Yeah.
Same with Margot Robbie. You know who's another one is Rebecca Ferguson. She's starting to get.
Who's that?
She's Rose the Hat in Doctor Sleep, the evil lady, and then she's in the Mission Impossible movies.
That's right.
Dude, I feel like she's just in fucking everything these days. Where it's like, oh my god,
right.
every poster, and she's a great actress, beautiful woman too. I mean, I'm not complaining about.
She's in Dune too. Yeah, with all.
Yeah, exactly. She's in Dune as well, and same with Margot Robbie. I mean, Margot Robbie's she's smoking hot, but of course I don't mind. These like beautiful women in these movies, but it's like, oh my god, they're in fucking everything. Like, we need someone to play Harley Quinn. Let's get Margot Robbie. We need someone to play Barbie. Margot Robbie.
It's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, it's just like, holy shit. Any blonde character, the blonde woman who got assaulted by Roger Ailes, Margot Robbie. It's like, Jesus Christ.
You know who I feel that way about? I feel that way about. Actually, I don't feel that way about Chris Pratt. I know that people are like burnt out on that guy, but I feel like that guy can continue being on everything, and I'm fine. Like I'm fine with Chris Pratt. I'm absolutely fine.
No, he's fine. I mean, I don't think he's in that much stuff.
No, I think he was for a bit, and now he's kind of like slowed down. I think now he's slowed down. I think people knowing that he was the voice of Mario in the Mario movies was like the peak, and I think now it's like gone down, since then. Because you have to remember that for that guy, he was like in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He was in that movie like Passengers. He's been in like a bunch of Amazon movies that didn't do that well, I think. He's in the Jurassic World movies. He was the voice of Mario in the Mario movies. He's not only is he in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but he's like in every Avengers movie.
Yeah.
So I think people got a little bit fed up with that guy. Where there's like this guy's on everything.
Yeah. Anya Taylor-Joy is getting that level for me.
She's a little bit. He was even the voice of the guy in the Lego movie. Like he was just everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And Florence Pugh, I feel that way about. And I didn't know that she was on like Oppenheimer, and she's in Oppenheimer, like the new Nolan movie.
Yeah, it's like Hollywood just latches on to these actors. I feel like it's probably, honestly, man, more harder than ever to become a big actor these days, because it's just like,
I think so. Yeah.
They're like, oh, let's just get so and so to play. It's like, oh, let's just get. This everyone's typecast. It's like not even the actors are typecast. It's like every character is typecast to an actor almost. It's like Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. Douchebag rich guy, Leonardo DiCaprio. Cool guy, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. Yeah.
mysterious,
Those are the guys.
mysterious, slightly evil lady, Rebecca Ferguson, or Anya Taylor-Joy if it's a younger role. It's like, yeah,
I feel like then if you flip that and it's mysterious, older man, usually these days it's Ethan Hawke for some reason.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Those guys are like flip flopping those roles. Like I'm the mysterious older guy.
Yeah, fucking.
Although I love Ethan Hawke.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, female role who's a fucking weirdo, Florence Pugh. It's like, why don't we see Saoirse Ronan in that role more? She plays that role great. She's awesome.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. But I was gonna like add to that with like a role, but I forgot who it was. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting question of like, who are your red flags? And it's interesting because my follow up to that was like what eventually we got to, and there's like great actors that are also like, why is this person here? Like if this person's here, it immediately sours my opinion of this. and immediately, evidently, lately, as of late for me, that really kind of has been Timothée Chalamet, because it's like, dude, you're in everything, man.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know that that's not good for your career just to be in everything. I mean, it's good for your pocket, but it's like people don't want to see you in that much shit.
Yeah.
And somebody who's been in a lot of shit lately, Tom Holland talked about that, where it's been kind of like viral today because I think the interview came out like late yesterday. Because in an interview, he said that he hates Hollywood and that he only acts because he likes acting, but he doesn't like any of the whole like, oh, I'm famous, like like rigmarole. And he was like, I don't really like all this fucking like attention and all this shit. So like he's been on the news for his comments, I guess. We'll see what that does to him.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. It was like I was watching. I don't watch ET. All right, Entertainment Tonight. I don't watch it, but it was on. Yeah, I'm caught.
Look who's coming out.
I'm caught. Yeah, exactly. No. But I did catch a little bit of Entertainment Tonight, and I saw like him talking. It wasn't that caught my attention as much as him talking about like his he was like his struggle with sobriety, and I'm like, oh, let's hear this. And then he's talking about like, I just felt like I was having too many drinks, and I just said let's stop drinking until my birthday, and then we got to my birthday, and I was like, I felt so good. I was like, that's not a fucking struggle with sobriety. Like that's just a normal. It's like you're a normal 20-something who said, oh, I'm drinking a little too much. Let me stop. Let me reel it in a little bit. End of story. It's like, dude, people our age need to turn everything into a fucking journey. This is like my journey with sobriety. My journey with sobriety is that I had a few too many drinks the other night, so I stopped. So I decided not to drink for the next day. And it was a real struggle, It's my journey with sobriety. It's like, shut up. Yeah. My God. It's like everybody just wants attention for shit. Yeah. It's like I never talk about you remember me first year of college, I was fucking addicted to cigarettes. I don't talk about that shit. It's like, it was it a little difficult to stop smoking those damn things? Yeah. Do I still want one every goddamn day? Yes. Was it a nightmare getting off of them? No. Like, jeez.
Your journey, Jake. That was your journey. That was your truth.
My truth. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Do you have a take on the Napoleon trailer?
Oh yeah, I do actually. When I watched the Napoleon trailer, the first thing, even before I watched it, the first thing I thought when I just saw the thumbnail with Joaquin Phoenix is I was like, this feels like a parody. I was like, this feels like it felt like I was watching BoJack Horseman, and it was one of the movies in BoJack Horseman. Like how BoJack did that movie Secretariat or whatever the hell it was. It felt like that. Yeah. It felt like a movie within a movie. Do you know what I mean by that? Like it felt like a parody.
I know what you mean like that. Yeah.
it didn't feel
Yeah,
real.
I know
I
what you
was like,
mean.
is this a serious movie? And then I clicked on it and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they're taking this seriously. I don't know. I feel like we're at
Yes.
a weird point, and that's the problem with casting all of these big A-list actors and everything. Honestly, dude, this is a perfect segue because that's like the issue with casting all of these like A-list actors and everything is
Mhm.
I feel like everything just becomes a parody of itself. It just becomes product where you're like, oh no, no, there's Joaquin. Yep, there he is again. Of course, he's
It's
playing
Joaquin. Yeah.
Napoleon. Yeah, it's like it's not the
Yeah.
character anymore. It's not Willy Wonka. It's Timothy Chalamet playing Willy Wonka. It feels like
Mhm.
you're going to a
Mhm.
school play when we watch movies nowadays because they're just casting the same people. And I really do I look back on like when Ghost in the Shell came out and people were pissed off when Scarlett
Mhm.
Johansson was playing the main actress. And honestly, man, I feel it. I feel it totally because I think as big of a piece of shit as he is, Max Landis was right about that. Where it's like it is a problem in Hollywood where we just keep casting the same goddamn people and everything, and we don't have whether it's diversity in race or just diversity in people as a whole and diversity in names
Mhm.
for these people. Because I click on this trailer and I'm just like, oh, it's just Joaquin Phoenix in this goofy Napoleon outfit. It just
Mhm.
didn't feel real. But I don't know. I don't know. How did you feel when you watched that trailer?
I felt the same way, where it was just kind of like strange. I felt like the movie had such a strange look to it too that I was like, is this really how this movie should look?
Yeah, and it's Ridley
Um,
Scott too, right?
and it is Ridley Scott because it's going like straight. I don't know if it's going straight to Apple, but it's like made by Apple. It's like Apple Movies or something like that. I think it will release in theaters, but it's probably one of those things that it's like after theaters, it's probably just gonna go straight to like Apple TV or something. Um, and the first thing that perplexed me, I was like, why does this look like this? Because I was like, this just looks like it just looked like so clean and like so like digitally like um altered, And I was
To
like, why did they do this? Like with this like historical film, like why do they have this approach to it, and why does it look so pristine? Or maybe it would like benefit from even having like fake grain or something. Like just do something to this.
yeah,
Um, but
it looked
I mean, me.
superimposed. It looked like Joaquin's
Yeah,
face was superimposed on the character. So I know
yeah.
exactly what you mean. It was so weird.
Exactly. And you know me because you know that for me, Joaquin is like my favorite actor, or at least like one of my favorite actors, like at least like my top three favorite actors.
Yeah.
I love the man. And obviously he doesn't make movies very often because the last thing that he did was Joker. And after Joker, he did that Bo Scared movie that I haven't seen yet. And now he's doing Napoleon, so he's not somebody that's like acting like often.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, I was like, I'm intrigued just because I am, I'm fascinated by Napoleon. I'm fascinated by those wars, and I'm fascinated by like the history of that. I've like read up on that a lot. I've watched a lot of like videos and stuff about that stuff. And so there's like an inherent fascination that I have with it, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like this is strange, and the trailer didn't completely click. I was like, I don't know if this is like this felt weird, and I was like, I don't know if honestly, I feel like Joaquin could have stayed because I think Joaquin is like an interesting cast rather. Although, like you said, it's like performative where it feels like, oh my god, I'm just seeing this really big actor play this fucking fictitious, like play this like historical character. But I feel like Joaquin could have stayed. I feel like the problem element for me here is fucking Ridley Scott,
Yeah.
where I feel like they need to stop letting Ridley Scott make a movie. I feel like it's enough, like it's enough. Like when's the last time that guy made a good movie? Like are we done? Like when is it enough for Ridley Scott to stop making movies?
Isn't he? He's like 90 years old too, isn't he?
And not
Things
even
on
to make
set
it about
shitting
that.
his.
It's just like
It's like shitting his diaper. Like where's
well,
my coffee?
but not even not even for it to like be that. For me, it's just mostly for me, it's just like, dude, the guy has not made a good movie in a long time.
Yeah.
Like let's stop. Like House of Gucci didn't do anything. All the Money in the World didn't do anything. The Last Duel didn't do anything. So like I mean, geez, like
Prometheus, Alien Covenant.
yeah, Alien Covenant didn't do anything. So it's like, and now we're going all the way back to 2015, and that was like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now Napoleon, and after Napoleon, Gladiator 2,
What
they're
the
making a
fuck?
Gladiator.
Gladiator 2. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
nothing's sacred these days. They'll make anything.
And it's directed by Ridley Scott. He himself is doing it.
Why do we need a Gladiator 2? What the what?
And it stars Denzel Washington.
You know, what's crazy about this is I can't even keep it all straight in my head anymore. What they're making, it's like you saying that I can't even tell. I can't even tell if I heard about Gladiator 2 or if this is complete news to me. I can't even tell the difference. Next year. Dude, I can't even tell the difference because I can't keep any of it straight anymore. It's just all it's all a mess. All these sequels, prequels, remakes, reboots.
No, it's scheduled to premiere like next year in November. I think it's already in production. Maybe even in post-production at this point.
Oh my god, dude! I can't movies everywhere. Can't keep it all straight. You know what Ridley Scott is? Ridley Scott is George Lucas if they kept letting him make movies.
He is. But listen to this. Not only is the movie's in production right now, but this happened. It says filming began in June with additional filming locations planned for Malta and United Kingdom over the following 4 months. It says an accident happened on set involving fire during filming on June 7th, injuring 6 crew members.
I thought you were going to say, when you said an accident happened, I was going to say in Ridley Scott's pants because he's 85. Jesus Christ. A fire? How many people were injured?
6 crew members.
2 butt cheeks were injured. Ridley Scott shit his pants because he's 96.
two butt cheeks were injured. They had to be hospitalized.
Oh god. I gotta cut off. I gotta stop drinking this wine. Oh god. Yeah, I don't. But it really is. Ridley Scott is George Lucas if they kept letting him make movies. Like with George Lucas, they after Revenge of the Sith, they were like, "Enough, George, we're done." They grabbed him by his. They grabbed him by his neck fat, by his neck belly, and they were just like, "You're done, George."
Like, stop making movies.
They're like, "It's over. You're done." Yeah, go away.
Louis Armstrong was the one who told him to stop making movies.
Yeah, that's what my voice sounded like. It was like, George, stop making movies. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason they kept letting Ridley Scott continue.
Yeah.
It's like he's bringing back his Alien thing, and he's like, oh, I want Alien. He's like, I want the Alien franchise to be my new Star Wars. And then Screenrant writes articles about it. They're like, well, if you take a look at the box office numbers, it's actually nowhere near Star Wars. It's like, shut up. My God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, sir, unless you have somewhere we're going to take this, what do you say that we get into our recaps?
Well, yeah, before we do, one thing I wanted to just talk about.
Go ahead.
Actually, a couple things. So one, I put this on our community page. I posted this. Did you see the picture of the Deadpool set photos with Wolverine?
I did. Yes, I saw that.
Badass, right?
Yeah, that's badass. It's pretty great. I'm really excited for that. I am really excited for that. People are criticizing them because they're criticizing the film for saying that they're filming like during this strike that's happening with the Writers Guild. But regardless of that, I am excited for it, and I think it's going to be amazing to see Hugh Jackman in that suit. Yeah,
I may. It really will. And they didn't even give us a look at him in the mask yet. We saw him in the yellow suit, but he didn't have the mask. But he's going to be in it. It's going to be. I wonder what the story purpose is going to be for him being in the suit. That's I couldn't stop wondering that. I was like, how are they going to get him in that? Because it looks just like Deadpool's suit, but just yellow. So I guess I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. At some point they're gonna be like bodying, like, oh, we're buddy. But as long as I feel like for that film, as long as they give me a fight sequence between those two guys, I'm fine. So that's really all I need. As long as it's really well choreographed, that's all I need. And as long as Hugh Jackman beats Deadpool,
Yeah.
it needs to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. He's played that character in 10 movies now. But yeah. That's interesting. So you said they're filming through the writer's strike or whatever on that?
Right, because that's what's happening right now.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's funny. I think I said this on one of our recent podcasts, but I think it bears repeating. Like, it's so funny. Like when the writer strike first starts, and we're all like, hell yeah, good for the writers. And then the news breaks that it's like, oh, your favorite shows and movies are going to be delayed. We're like, fuck this, man. Get them back. Get them back to work. Get them back in the office. Stop striking. Get back to work.
There's been a lot of criticism for that because they're saying that the guild is not doing enough to kind of bring this to a resolution. Because writers are not working right now, so they're not getting paid. So there's a lot of worry for that. So I hope that resolves quickly and for the benefit of the writers, obviously. But I guess we'll see where that ends, honestly.
Yeah, and obviously I'm joking. I mean, it's I'm half joking because it's like, of course, we all want our shows, I want season 4 of yeah. It's like, look, listen, we all want season 4. I want season 4 of The Boys to come back rather than later. Same with Deadpool 3. I mean, I'm not a huge superhero guy, but I like, I'm interested in seeing Wolverine. Anything that I'm interested in seeing, I'd rather it come sooner rather than later. But obviously, of course, writers keep striking. We want the best outcome for you, obviously.
Yeah.
As a writer, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go into the recap, man. Give us your recap. I'm a little off the rails here, so I'm gonna get back and let you talk.
I think your alcohol blood content is higher than 0.
Do you think so?
You're like in that scene in the movie where they all go like, let's see what's the optimal for each one of us. And say, oh, this is not gonna go well. But yeah, like the past week I listened to let me start with the albums. I listened to, because I'm still in the G's, and it took me a little while to get through the game's discography. Over the past week, I only listened to 2 albums, actually 3. I listened to an artist called Genesis Owusu, this fella right here.
Huh. Never heard of him.
And it's an album called Smiling with No Teeth that came out in 2021, and it's classified on Apple Music as alternative rap. So basically just like alt hip hop. It's very musical because it's really kind of more experimental, and it has kind of mixes of jazz, it has kind of mixes of funk, it has kind of mixes of pop, and obviously hip hop and rapping, and ultimately just kind of blending those genres and experimenting with them a little bit. I thought it was a very solid record. It's only 15 songs, 54 minutes. If I was going to recommend tracks off of this album, I would recommend this start song Gold Chains, the song Waiting on Ya, and the song let me see, song number 13 called A Song About Fishing, which I think it's great, and the last song called Bye Bye. I think those are really great songs. I think the song The Other Black Dog, the second song, I think that's also a really great song.
Okay.
I think it was a really solid album, like really pretty good, like solid album. I would give this like a 7 out of 10, honestly. And I believe this is also his first record. Because he has an EP before that, but this is like his first album. And he's releasing an album soon on August 18th called Struggler. So I'm looking forward to that now that I've listened to the entirety of his discography to date. But I recommend him. Pretty good. Then I listened to one of my favorite Beatles, as and I listened to the George Harrison album, All Things Must Pass. And I have to go back to George Harrison because I want to listen to just more than that, but that's what I listened to over the past week or two. And obviously this is like nearly a perfect album, probably 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 album. Amazing. Mm-hmm. There's songs in here that I just have loved over the years, such as My Sweet Lord Isn't It a Pity? What is Life? So I can't recommend this enough. It's amazing. It's 23 songs, an hour and 45 minutes, and it is incredible. And it's George Harrison.
Yeah, the Beatles
And
solo
then
work is really amazing.
yeah,
It kind of flies under the
and
radar a little bit, I feel like, because of
it
how
does.
big the
It really
Beatles were
does.
as a collective. But, you know,
Yeah,
I've had to go back and kind of I didn't even realize until I was older that there was a lot of solo work by those guys.
yeah. Yeah, and George is one of them that has like a lot of solo work and a lot of great like solo stuff. Um, and then I moved on from him and I listened to the third album that I listened to for the past few weeks. I listened to Ghostface Killa, one of the Wu-Tang guys who also has his own great solo albums. And I'm speaking of, he has the album Iron Man. He has the album, let me see, Bulletproof Wallets. And he has the album that I listened to, which is his very first solo album, Supreme Clientele, that came into 2000s, East Coast hip hop. And that album is great. It's a great album, 21 songs, hour and 4 minutes long, packed with Marvel comic book references, other snippets that make references to Iron Man, and to Iron Man's drinking problems, and to Iron Man's, Iron Heart, and to Iron Man comics, because these guys are huge comic fans, the Wu Tang guys.
Yeah, he even
But
has a
Supreme Clientele is
collaboration with Czarface, who's like a huge comic book
that's
guy,
right, yeah,
who in turn had
yeah,
a
that's right,
collaboration with
Czar,
MF
yeah,
Doom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I listened to that, and I think this is a great album. Anybody who's a fan of hip hop, which we've been talking a lot about today, I think should listen to this. Specifically, the song number 2, Nutmeg with RZA. The song number 3 called One. The song number 6 with Raekwon, Apollo Kids. The song number 7, The Grain with RZA. Song number 8, Buck 50. And song number 12, We Made It. And song 16, Churches Like Ghost with You God. I think all of those songs are amazing. I think I'm forgetting maybe a couple of songs in here that are also like really like incredible songs. Um, but yeah, Ghostface is the man. But other than that, I listened. Well, that's all I listened to. But other than that, I watched a movie over the past week. I watched a Jane Austen adaptation, Sense and Sensibility, and that movie was also very great. Like just really great movie, beautifully directed, great music, great performances, just through and through, like really a great movie. Um, that's it for me, sir. What do you have?
All right. Well, I've added all of those albums to my library, so I'm gonna take your recommendations there. For
Hey,
me,
thanks. I hope the people listening do too. Honestly.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean we always get like great music recommendations when you do your your recap. So I'll get into mine. On the movie side of things, I watched a few films. So I watched for the first time Steven Spielberg's first movie ever, Duel.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I've seen that movie. It's great.
yeah, no, it's a great movie. Really fun. I think the only thing that I really didn't like about it, which the only reason I give it a 7 out of 10 rather than an 8 was the narration. Dude, they did not need that
Mhm,
stupid narration. The main character
mhm,
like narrating, that took away a lot of the
mhm.
tension, man. Like when that happened, I was just like, can you imagine watching Breaking Bad and Walt is like walking up to Gus's house, at night, and you hear his like narration in his head, like, whoa, what if Mike's watching me? What if he's sitting
Yeah.
there saying, Walter, get away from the house? But that's all I could think of. I was like, why did they put the narration in there? But other than that, it's great. I mean, it's a great, fantastic exercise in
Mhm,
suspense.
mhm.
It's a
First
nail
Spielberg
biter.
movie.
Yeah, I mean, Spielberg is obviously he's a Hitchcock disciple, and
Mhm,
Spielberg sort of took Hitchcock's suspense formula and applied it to blockbusters. brought it to the blockbuster world, which I thought was, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, so Duel is Duel's a solid suspense flick. If you like Hitchcock or if you're just like suspense, I've said it before on other podcasts, but suspense is one of my great passions in storytelling. And Duel is a great, a solid, exercise in suspense. I rewatched for the first time in a really long time, Batman Begins, which is, obviously a great summer film. Batman Begins is great. It's not quite at the level of, The Dark Knight. And there's definitely parts of Batman Begins that feel like, it's, I chalk it up to being a product of the 2000s, but there's parts of Batman Begins that feel like parody scenes, like parodies of superhero movies, where it's like these little one-liners. Like the one will be like, "Who are you?" And he's just like, "I'm Batman." It's just like, oh, Jesus. You're just like, oh God, It's like, wait a second, you have to tell me who you are. It's like, it's not who we are. Underneath, it's what we do. It's just like, oh God, this shit. It's elements like that haven't aged too well are present in the film, but otherwise, it's a good movie. Obviously, it kicked off, a great trilogy. And then the last movie that I'd like to talk a little bit about is I went to the movie theater and I saw the latest installment.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
In the Insidious franchise.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw you saw that movie.
Yeah. So first of all, let me just say that my actual theater experience was not great because I had a group of fucking teenagers behind me. Talking, giggling.
As it was last time that we went to the movie theater.
Like, dude, what is going on? What is going on? I swear to God, like, millennials out there, you have raised a generation of narcissists. Like, you've raised a generation of just menaces. Like, complete menaces. There's people that go around like just being menaces to society. This is like, let's go out as a group and ruin someone's dinner by being too loud. Let's drive like idiots and let's, ruin people's movie theater experience. Like, dude, the amount of popcorn bag crinkling. I like afterward, we were talking about it, the people I went to see the movie with, and I'm like, holy shit. It's like they didn't eat popcorn the whole movie, but rather were trying to get one handful of popcorn for an hour and 45 minutes, but never got the handful. Like the whole movie was just them trying to get one handful of popcorn and they never got it. It's just crinkle, 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 crinkle. The entire fucking 105 minutes. Like, God damn it! Oh my God. And then like every time anything would happen in the movie, they're like, "Ooh, oh my God, whoa. Did you get enough popcorn? Did you get enough popcorn? Hey, where's the candy? Do you have the candy?" Shut the hell up. Oh my God. But it was bad, dude. But on to the movie. The movie was not good.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the jump scares just have to stop. Like, the jump scares just have to stop. Like, it's like every 10 seconds. It's like and it's what's worse in horror movies that I've realized these days is like your run-of-the-mill horror movie, not only are the jump scares like really sudden and out of place and cheap and stupid, but it's also always during the most interesting part of the movie where, by the way, in your run-of-the-mill horror movie, that's few and far between that there's actually an interesting moment where you're like, whoa, the plot's developing. What's going on here? And then, bah! Bah! It's like, oh shit, this plot development, new answer to this mystery that I've been wondering about. Bah! And it's just like, oh my God, man. Yeah, so jump scares everywhere right off the bat. I guess minor spoiler here. The red-faced demon, he's in it for all of I don't want to say that low. I mean, 90 seconds? 90 seconds? Like, they marketed him as like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's like, Freddy Krueger. It's like the return of Freddy Krueger or something. He's in the movie probably 90 seconds. Not in it very much at all. Yeah, it was pretty lame, man. There were some good parts. The final shot was actually a really powerful kind of callback to the first movie, and a nice little wrap up of the characters' arcs. But it just felt very lazy, very cheap, very they could have done something really cool with it, and yeah, they just didn't. The whole thing too of like this whole trope that's going on in movies right now, where like the main character is like a kid, and if they have a bad relationship with one of their parents, it's like they're just ultra over the top disrespectful to their parent, and that's a really tired trope. It just makes me not like the kid character, the teenager, or whoever is in that role. The new Dexter, the Dexter crap miniseries that came out a couple years ago, was really guilty of that. But just these very, because you have a story. The trope these days seems to be like when you have a story where the parent has been absent or just kind of a bad parent, the kid is just this super ultra disrespectful brat to the parent. And it just lacks a lot of nuance, it's just dumb. And they do that in this movie, and it's just really lame. But yeah, not scary in the slightest. Pretty much no part of this movie actually creeped me out. Really disappointing, because I think the first Insidious is one of the greatest horror films ever. I mean, it's one of the greatest horror films of all time. So yeah, Insidious, The Red Door, big pass.
Insidious, the red poop.
Yeah. The red poop. You need to go to the hospital and get that checked. But yeah, on the music side of things, I listened to Lil Uzi's new album. Obviously,
yeah, that's right. You said you were going to mention that.
Yeah, I listened to it top to bottom. So there's a couple. You can tell how much Lil Uzi likes Chief Keef, because he mentions Chief Keef he name drops Chief Keef on one song, and then on another song he actually, and I forget which one it is, but he actually samples "Hate Being Sober," like the chorus or the hook of that song. But obviously a really bloated tape. I think it's around. Looks like it's an hour and 34 minutes. So, he's obviously playing the streaming game. It just, it just goes to show how fucked up the music industry is, and the record labels are. That this is what artists have to do to make money. It's like they have to make these giant bloated albums. It's just kind of lame, because it's just like, it's just bad for the artistry. Like nobody needs to go in and listen to an hour and a half album. It's just incredibly bloated. But what I will say is, within it, there's like a decent album. The songs that I like Endless Fashion with Nicki Minaj is pretty good. Pluto to Mars is good. Mama, I'm Sorry is a good song. Days Come and Go is a good one. There's a few good songs off this album. There's a good album somewhere in there where there's about.
Did you listen to that cover of the System of a Down song?
The which one is it?
I think there's like a cover in there of like that System of a Down song. I don't know which one it is though.
Is that a rock song?
I think so.
Yeah, because there's a couple like metal songs on this album that are like.
Yeah, I think one
decent.
of them is like a cover. Yeah, I think one of them is like a cover of like a song in one of those albums.
Because the song "Werewolf," that's like a legit actual metal song, and that one was like pretty good. I actually added it to my metal playlist, funny enough. But what's weird about it is it's featuring a metal group, but there's barely any Uzi on it. So at that point, you're kind of like, is this even your song, man? Like, you're just kind of bringing this metal band on and having them do a metal song. I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, pretty forgettable album. I mean, I haven't really re-listened to any of it. He definitely didn't do what Yachty did and come in with something super interesting. He's going the other direction with the bloated, play in the streaming game album, which I think it's like, that's very short-term gratification, because pretty much every artist that I've seen do that has just fallen off immediately. Like Ray Shremmer did that, and they're gone, man. No one's listening to Ray Shremmer.
Yeah, they really are, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah, I didn't even know they came out with an album relatively recently. That's how they fell off hard. Like nobody, you're never gonna, you never have end up with a classic album that way by playing that streaming game. It just it never works. You might make a little bit more money in the short term, but every artist that does that falls off right after.
That's right.
I got around to listening to the metal band Katatonia's latest album. It came out in January, so obviously I'm late to the party. But they're a metal band that I like quite a bit. The album is called, I forget the name of it. Give me 1 second. Katatonia, Sky Void of Stars.
Sky Void of Stars.
This is a beautiful album. This is a beautiful metal album. Katatonia, one of my favorite metal bands. Beautiful music. Beautiful music. If you like metal with clean vocals, but it's also substantially heavy, Katatonia is fantastic. They're a quasi kind of doom metal group. They're awesome. I mean, you obviously know them. I'm kind of more talking to the listeners, but the standouts on this album for me, Austerity is a great track. Opaline and Drab Moon both have really cool. They make cool use of electronic sounds on them. And the songs Birds, Author, Sclera, and Absonder. Which it's a pretty short album, so I just named more than half the album as standout tracks. So if that tells
that's
you.
It goes. Same thing for me. Yeah. You're coming back from last week, man.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm talking too much. Yeah, dude, that strep or whatever I had hit me, man. That destroyed my throat.
Yeah.
And not even counting the fact that my day job requires me to talk a ton. And then finally, in anticipation of the new Travis Scott record, I actually was curious, so I went back and listened to a little bit of Travis Scott's first ever project as a solo artist, which was Pharaoh.
That's right.
Pretty good. I mean, you could tell he's like coming into his own. His lyricism's pretty, sketchy, but it's pretty good. I mean, there's definitely, again, on this song, you could tell he's still coming into his own, and I mean, there was songs on it where I subconsciously 100% thought I was listening to Kid Cudi, and then I had to kind of snap back into reality where I was just like, oh shit, this is Travis. You could tell he loves Kid Cudi. But yeah, it's a solid project. There's some fun songs on it. But that's all I can really say. I only listened to a little bit of it. I didn't have enough interest to listen to it top to bottom. But yeah, that's pretty much my recap. Oh, I started a new book. Right. I started a new novel by S.A. Cosby. He wrote an amazing novel called Razorblade Tears, which I really, really, really loved. He's a great author. But Razorblade Tears was a really solid crime thriller novel. basically about these two men who their sons were a gay couple and they were murdered. So the two men both kind of come from backgrounds of crime. They team up and sort of put their differences aside. Like one's a black guy and one's like a hardcore redneck. And they sort of like put their different cultural differences and their prejudices aside to team up and avenge their sons, who both of the dads were both kind of like weirded out by their sons being gay. So there's a lot of really interesting social commentary in it. Great novel, incredible, like just profound. S.A. Cosby is like a truly amazing author. And now I'm reading a novel that came out with a year earlier called Blacktop Wasteland about a guy who comes from a background as a getaway driver, similar to Drive. And he's sort of like dipping his foot back into the life. But it's pretty good so far. I just started it, but it's good. I like it so far. I know after how amazing,
right,
yeah, and after how amazing Razorblade Tears was, I know this novel will probably be pretty great too. That's it.
Well, with all of that being said, and I guess with our alcohol levels decreasing, why don't we
speak
get
for
into
yourself?
The movie of
the week? Yeah. So the movie of the week was Another Round, 2020 film.
I was like, you don't remember the name of the movie?
No, I'm grabbing my water jug here. Trying to like sober up a little.
Far gone.
I still have to work tomorrow. I didn't even have that much. I had a couple glasses of wine, but it's like, you drink that fast, man. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
But we watched Another Round, directed by Thomas Vinterberg. Is that his name?
Thomas Vinterberg. That's right, yeah.
Vinterberg.
Yep. Written and directed by him.
Starring Mads Mikkelsen. This guy directed the movie The Hunt, which is an awesome movie. Yeah. Super great, super profound, really sad, hard to watch. Also starring Mads Mikkelsen. But this week it was Another Round, starring Mads Mikkelsen, and it's about basically a group of teachers who are friends, and they decide to do an experiment where they keep their blood alcohol level at 0.05. So, and that's at about the level of 1 to 2 glasses of wine throughout the day until 8 p.m. And see how that changes their lives. What do you think of this movie, Edward?
Well, let me elaborate a little bit. I am a big fan of this director. Big fan. And he is, just to kind of give a little bit more kind of history about him, he is the co-founder of the Dogma movement, the Dogma 95. He co-founded it with Lars von Trier, both of these guys being Danish filmmakers. And he has one of the great Dogma movies, which is called The Celebration from '98. And for those who don't know what Dogma is, it's basically a movement that was all about establishing rules in order to just basically make the filmmaking process, I guess, more contrived and straightforward, but in order to basically be creative within boundaries. Rules such as like, oh, you can't use, artificial lights, and you can't use, or the movie can't have like artificial like violence. It has to basically was just grounding the film in like realism. But yeah, he made Another Round, which I had been meaning to watch for a very long time because it's the first movie of his that was nominated for an Oscar and won him an Oscar. This was nominated for Best International Feature in the 2021 Oscars, and he won. He won Best International Film for this movie, and he was also nominated for Best Director. So it was amazing. Interestingly enough, I feel like if he should have won those things, it should have been for The Hunt, which I think is better than this movie.
I do too.
But I think it's great that at least that he did get those nominations. I think he won something. I thought this movie was great. I have close to no criticisms. I thought it was a great film. And I thought that, as always, Mads Mikkelsen was incredible. I thought he played amazingly. Like he just had such a great performance. And it's interesting because I always confuse Mads. For some reason, I confuse these guys. Like my Mads Mikkelsen and Viggo Mortensen, I confuse them. Even though like I love both those guys, but I do love Mads Mikkelsen more. Sometimes in my head, I think they're in movies that they're not because the other guy's in it for whatever reason.
That's interesting. I could see that. Yeah. I can see Mads Mikkelsen in History of Violence. That'd be a pretty good little role swap. Maybe an AI could make that movie one day.
But it was interesting, like the first act of the film, because you're just seeing, we're being introduced to these characters, specifically Matt's character, and you can kind of see that he's just somebody that's just kind of going with the motions, so much so that his students don't his students don't listen to him. They just speaks and nobody pays attention, and it culminates in like all the parents like attacking him, which was quite an awkward scene.
Yeah,
it's like all these people are basically just telling him like, hey, pass our kids, because you're not a good teacher and they're struggling. So that was rough.
Yeah. Yeah, you immediately sympathize with this character for sure.
Yeah. So it was fascinating that they meet to celebrate their friend's birthday, and this guy just introduces him to the idea of like, hey, there's this philosopher that says that human beings have a deficiency, and that they're supposed to operate with a 0.05 of alcohol like throughout the day, and he gives like these historical examples and stuff, and they talk about like Hemingway and stuff like that. But it's funny to me that they go like, yeah, they don't immediately like get there, obviously, but Mads the next day is like, let me try this out, and it works wonderfully. And it's fascinating, because I was like, is this movie telling people to be alcoholics? Like, what is going on? I was like, what is going on here? What's going on? And in my head, I was like, I know, I was like, through convention, I know that there has to be. I was like, I know these guys are going to push it too far. I know they're all going to become alcoholics, and I know that it's going to destroy their lives. I was like, I know all of these things are going to happen, but at this point in time in this movie, it feels like this movie is telling me like, hey, everybody should be day drinking all of the time, and he painted it in such like a positive way, But these guys get out of control so quickly because it's like giving them like positive benefits. So they're just like, oh, there must be more,
Yeah.
So it derails faster for these guys than I thought it would. Because then, as you know, they eventually get to the point where they're just like, oh, let's see if, each one of us might have a peak efficiency. Maybe all of us are not supposed to operate at this level. So let's see which is the level for us. And then it just gets embarrassing from there, honestly.
Yeah.
And really just kind of like anxiety inducing, because you're like, oh my god, you're just intoxicated in public, and you're a teacher, you're on your students, and they're basically now telling your students that they should be drinking, so it gets a little bit rough. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. What did you think?
The scene where Mads Mikkelsen's character Martin, when he comes in, when they first decide to go to point one instead, and he comes into that room and he's like swaying around, and then he smacks his face into the wall. I mean, dude, he played that so well. Like, I wasn't even intoxicated at all while I was watching this movie, and I felt intoxicated just watching that scene. Like, I felt like I was back in high school, like pretending to be sober in a Hardee's, like while I'm ordering my burger, like. Yeah. So I remember, like we would get like hammered, we'd go to like a Hardee's or like a McDonald's. We'd just stand at the counter and be like, I want to. It's like, do you guys still have the Szechuan sauce? Yeah, I'd like some of that. Like I felt like I was right back there. That was played so well. And when he smacked his face on the wall, it was perfect because they created an optical illusion where it looked like he was home free, but he was just headed straight for that wall.
And it's like now you smack your face at the wall.
Yeah, it was so good. But yeah, man, he obviously I love Mads Mikkelsen. I'll always see him as Hannibal. I mean, I watch, and he has like the same haircut.
You have that, don't you? Yeah.
He has the same haircut in like every movie and show that he's in. So you're just like, oh, it's Hannibal again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, this movie was great. What I thought was interesting, like the first act was super interesting because you immediately sympathize with this character because he's, it felt very Breaking Bad, where it's like this guy's just living this life of quiet desperation, and he's just regressing and, sort of imploding in a way where it's just like he's regressing into himself, and it's just like shutting people out, and what I found interesting about it is this movie made me think about my own life a little bit. I don't feel like that, by the way, but just to put that out there, but it's a thought-provoking movie for sure, which is more than you can say for, a lot of movies, even really good movies. Some really good movies don't necessarily make you think about your own life, but it's interesting because, a lot of times I feel like when you're going through something, whether it's an existential crisis or just depression or whatever it is, I feel like people around you, the default, it's weird. It's like a lot of times the default is to they become confused. And they're just wondering, like, why is this person not the same? And they don't seek to understand, and I really felt like the first act made me think of that. Cause I remember it was like our first year of college, and I had this friend back home, and it was after, that it was like after that Halloween party that you and I went to that first year when, I won't like go into that story now, but I had like a lot of anxiety after that Halloween night, like for a couple months, it just kind of like messed with me where I was like, oh God, I have like, I just felt shook after that, after that incident. And I remember one of my hometown friends at the time just being like, oh, Jake, he's like, you're not really the same. You're just not as fun anymore, and it's just like, it's just like, man, like, screw you, in a way. Cause you're just like, I'm going through something and you're supposed to be my friend, but you're not helping me through it. You're not seeking to understand. You're just like, oh, you're not entertaining me anymore. And it made me sympathize with him even more. With the parents and the students, I get, because it's like, that's your job. But like with his wife, it's like, why don't you seek to understand this guy? Why are you just standing here saying like, oh, you're not the same Martin that I met? It's just like, just annoying, man. But so it was interesting. It made me sympathize with this character immediately. And
yeah,
it's really deflating, man, when people say things like that to you. They don't seek to kind of understand and sort of help you through things.
And I feel bad for him, but I think that's one of the points in the movie where, because like I said to you before, I knew where the movie was going, and so I could kind of see that, even though despite that the ending was really cathartic regardless, and I really appreciated the movie regardless of the fact that I was like, this is kind of how this movie is going to go. But also with that, I felt the exact same way that you did. And also it was clear as water to see where that was going. I was like, this is what's going on in this guy's house. Like this is like, it's so obvious that this is what's going on, But like you said, you feel for the guy because it's just like, that is the equivalent, like he was just abandoned, it's like, oh, you figure yourself out and I'm just going to leave you be. And that's not fair, so that wasn't fair for that character. And in a way, it also felt bad just to see that he had to make so many sacrifices, like even after the fact, But I mean, he had his happy ending, so there's that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
semi.
Yeah.
They did lose a friend, but
Semi.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, because that's the thing about the whole experiment with the alcohol. Especially, I think their fatal flaw came especially when they went up to 0.1. Because when he was like, let's go up to 0.1%. It's like, why are you doing this? Everything's going fine. Why do you have to go up?
Exactly.
But it was interesting.
It felt in that way, it felt like necessary too for them to do that because it felt like it was necessary even for their personal lives for it to just become embarrassing. Just to crash. Because it feels like if that hadn't happened, maybe Mads would not have had that conversation. With like his family and everything. It feels like for everybody's lives was like a benefit that they realize like this is as far as we can go with this, and it costs like all this turmoil in our personal lives that has made us have to actually connect,
Yeah.
with the people in our personal lives and address all these issues. The sad thing was that for Tommy's character, because he didn't have anybody in his personal life, it was just ultimately like a downfall with no like upheaval like after the fact, because that guy was just alone with his dog, so for him it was just like there's no system for me in place for be able to recover from this, it's just embarrassing. And I've
Yeah.
lost my job,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was rough, man. That was a tough part of the movie, and I wanted to,
yeah.
I really wanted to see him get better, but I knew I was like, this
Hmm.
this is this is the price that they're gonna pay, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Just knowing
yeah. and,
knowing how
and
stories play out.
Yeah, and like I said to you, like that was ultimately like my only issue with this film, that I felt like there was a little bit of telegraphing where it's like, oh, this is what's going on in Matt's personal life. This is kind of how the movie's gonna go, And with Tommy's character, I was like, this guy's gonna die,
Yeah.
Like especially with Mads, like because Mads had like several lines where he was like, keep in touch, Tommy, and he was like, he would just be quiet to that, and I was like, Mads, Tommy's gonna kill himself,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So.
And he
So
said, "This means
that
nothing.
that
This all
is
means nothing." It's like,
right.
oh, this guy's gonna,
Exactly.
this gonna,
This
this
guy's
guy's
gonna
gonna
do something.
die.
So that was like my only issue with the movie, was just kind of like the telegraphing of things.
Yeah,
Literally the only thing. Like that's the only issue that I have. That is just like, oh, you're being a little bit on the nose with things here. But other than that, I really appreciated this film. I really thought it was great. Um, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's kind of.
I think
Go
what was
ahead.
interesting. I mean, this movie comments really effectively. I think on one of the most important aspects of the human condition, which is happiness and fulfillment. It's like that's what
Mhm.
everyone's pursuing every day, and people, a lot of people have given up on these ideas, on the idea of happiness and
Mhm.
fulfillment. So many people
Mhm.
you meet just day in and day out, I feel like I've just given up. Like it's just like happiness,
Mhm.
fulfillment. It's like where's that winning lottery ticket? That'll make me happy.
Mhm.
It's like it's not fulfilled.
Mhm.
Like that, and I think a lot of people, it's like either they just don't know where to find fulfillment, or they just have a lot of crap from their past that they have to deal with that they just can't get
Mhm.
over. They've just never been able to deal with, and they don't know how to get out of that. And
Mhm.
it's one of the biggest challenges. It's like it's the thing, happiness and fulfillment. It's the thing that we're all trying to get to. And what I realized when
Mhm.
watching this movie, and I didn't necessarily realize it. I've kind of always sort of had this thought, but it's like this movie reinforced it, where it's like happiness and fulfillment. Happiness is sort of a snowball effect where people like to say, like, people talk about all the time. It's like, is happiness an outside? Is it external? Does it come from within? And it's like, well, it's sort of a snowball effect of both, right? It's like sometimes happiness starts on the outside and it makes you feel good on the inside. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you feel good on the inside, and then because you feel good on the inside, you have a different perspective on things in your external world, and things just look like they
Mhm.
work out better. And that's kind of what was interesting about this movie. It's like, oh, just because you guys feel a little better inside by getting to 0.05% blood alcohol content,
Mhm.
it's like now you're sort of able to ripple that outward into the world and have
Mhm.
these external effects. This, Specs
Right.
is
And
able to perform well in
and
soccer. Martin's wife is in
right.
love with him again,
And
etc.
I think something that adds to what you're saying is that I think what the alcohol ultimately did for them is that it made them not be preoccupied. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all of those guys cease to be preoccupied. Because I think part of the message of the movie is not that people should be alcoholics. I think part of the movie's message, honestly, that is that people should drink in moderation. I think that's kind of the
Yeah.
message of the film.
Yeah.
But also that people should make efforts to be present. Because the
Yeah.
things that changed in those guys' lives is that the alcohol made it so that they were just present. They were in the moment, you know.
Exactly.
And that made it so they could make the most out of their current circumstances. So ultimately, that's really what I got from the movie. I thought the ending was beautiful with him dancing,
Yeah.
and just with the idea of how happy he was, combined with how sad he was that his best friend passed away. Yeah, a lot to take away from this film. I'll probably rewatch this at some point,
Hmm.
sooner rather than later, because I thought it was a beautiful film, very well deserved victory for my boy Thomas.
Hmm.
Um, Interestingly enough, this film was supposed to have Thomas Vinterberg's daughter was supposed to be in it as one of Mads' kids, and she passed away 4 days into filming this movie.
Oh my God.
And the movie's dedicated to her. And after she passed away, the person who actually directed the film was the co-writer for the film. I think this guy named Tobias Lindholm. He directed the film for like a week or over a week, just for Thomas to have time with his family, and then he came back to make the movie. So it's great that he's had success with
Wow.
this film, just knowing what happened. And apparently, because his daughter wanted him to make this movie really bad, so much so that she was also going to be in it. So that's a tragedy.
That's why he pushed through. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. This movie's
That's
name is
rough,
actually
man.
not. This movie's actual name is like Drinking. It's kind of the name of the movie, not Another Round. But I guess they just named it Another Round.
It's the Danish name or
Um,
whatever. It's binge drinking, right? Didn't I see?
and
I thought I saw that. Binge drinking. Is that the name in
yeah, it's kind of
Danish?
like drinking or bit drinking. Yeah,
That's like the literal
and
translation.
as you know, the guy that plays Tommy and Mads were also the guys in The Hunt, like the main two guys, like
Yeah.
Mads and his friend who has the daughter that accuses him.
Yeah, the guy's
Apparently,
the
Mads
soccer
choreographed
coach's
the
deep voice is what tipped me off because I didn't recognize him without the beard.
yeah,
Like his deep ass
yeah,
voice, I was like, oh, I recognize this guy, and I was like, oh, he's the guy from The Hunt just without his beard.
yeah. And I guess the last thing I have to say about this is that they're making an English remake of this movie,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
the English remake of this film stars Leonardo DiCaprio.
Of course,
Yeah.
as usual, that goes back to what we were saying before.
Yeah.
Craziness, man. Always casting the same motherfuckers. But yeah,
Yep.
but to kind of cap off my idea, it's like what I was saying before about it's like, does happiness come from inside? Does it come from the outside? It's like both, and it's like sometimes you need to feel good inside and then project that out into the world. And then as things in your external environment get better, it gives you positive feedback and you feel better inside. And then it's just the snowball rolls. You know what I mean? You just keep projecting it back
Right.
out. It projects back in.
Right.
But it can also go the other way, right? Same exact thing I just said, but in reverse, where it's
Yeah.
like negative.
Yeah. In reverse, which is basically the state in which these characters were in when we first met them in this movie.
Exactly. And that's what I thought was powerful about the movie, was just the way it was able to portray that really, really well.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a great concept for a movie that just comments on the human
Mhm.
condition really effectively. And I thought it was wonderful. I
Yeah.
still have that song from the end,
Absolutely.
that ending song that's still
Yeah,
stuck in
what
my
a
damn
line.
head.
Yeah.
It's stuck in my head. It was
Yeah,
stuck in my head
yeah.
all day today,
Yeah.
dude.
It's a great song. Yeah.
Yeah, that
the
should
music was great in this movie.
yeah, that should have been a hit. Yeah, this movie, and besides all of the serious stuff, I mean, this movie is just so much damn fun, dude. I mean, my goodness.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a really fun time. Yeah. Yeah,
I think-
dude, you had a wonderful pick. That was a great movie.
Oh, thanks, man. I think I think my only negatives of this movie were, like you said, it's not only does it telegraph, but I think it is a pretty predictable movie, especially I saw the trailer a long time ago, and I mean the trailer is the whole movie. I mean, I'm just like, holy shit, you guys just.
I bet it is.
You
that I don't watch those things.
Yeah, no, I think I mean I might start honestly, just dude, I might join the club of just not watching trailers because it's like, holy shit. I mean,
yeah, after like 6 years.
Yeah, right. Because the trailer just shows. I mean, the trailer shows all of them. The trailer shows all of them doing the experiment. Obviously, it sets up the plot, but then it shows like the fallout and stuff. It shows Mads Mikkelsen's character and his wife like fighting, and it's like, oh my god, I know where I know where this is going. You know, it's like, holy shit. And then you watch it, and you're just like, you know, everything that's going to happen. But even without the trailer, I feel like it was pretty, still pretty clear that it's like, it is a bit silly. Like these characters were a bit silly for this. It's like, what do you think's going to happen? You can't just keep doing this.
Right, exactly.
How fucking long are you going to do this? A month, 2 months, 2 years? Like this has to end eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
But but that, and then I also felt that they could have tightened up the runtime a little bit. It did feel long at certain points.
A little long, yeah.
It felt pretty repetitive, where they were just showing the positive effects of the alcohol, and I felt like they did it in like.
And then the negatives, yeah.
There were like 24 scenes where they're like showing the positives of the alcohol. I'm like, I fucking get it.
Went from one character to the other character to the other character. It's like there's 4 of these guys, and you're showing the same scene 4 times.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. They could have tightened this up to like 90 minutes probably. But other than that, it was a great movie. It was good.
That being said, then what do you rate this film?
I would give this movie a strong 8 out of 10.
Same here.
Okay.
Same. Exact same rating. Yeah.
Well, sorry to disappoint you, audience, but there was no controversy during this review, so.
Yeah, not this time. Yeah.
Our tastes are too similar, man.
Yeah.
We need to just
one
go.
of us has to be fired.
Yeah. I can't say his name, but we both know who we're talking about. Where I always send you his reviews. We really should have a podcast with him. Where
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Honestly, dude,
that probably be very enjoyable.
The review portion would probably be a lot more entertaining if we had him just on every time.
Yeah, but every other element I think would decrease monumentally.
Probably. You and I would just probably during the review section would probably just flame him the entire time. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean Shawshank Redemption is a 1 out of 10? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Contrarian motherfucker. But
yeah.
What you got for us next week, Edward?
For next week, I got the 2009 movie directed by Woody Allen. This will be the second Woody Allen movie that we cover in this podcast. Titled Whatever Works, starring none other than Larry David.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever heard of this movie, dude.
Yeah, whatever. You have.
A Woody Allen movie starring Larry David? Holy shit, that's right. Dude. This is Larry a dream.
David in New York.
This is a dream come true. But our buddy, the one that I just mentioned, gave it 3 out of 10. So I don't know if we. I don't know if it's gonna be good, Edward.
I guess we'll see. We have our own opinions.
Yeah.
Everybody get hyped. Next week we're watching a very, very good movie. Maybe. I guess we'll see. It's either very, very good or very, very bad. This is a Curve to Enthusiasm reference, by the way. Film Whatever Works, starring Larry David.
All right, folks. Well, that's it.
Until next time on Film Tangents, we are out.